Are estate agents egotistical? Adam Day, you join me today on the Watkins sofa, Bossman of EXP. And before we switched the cameras on, we were talking about how you believe that many estate agents, not all, are egotistical and let pride get in the way of running their own businesses. What did you mean by that? Talk to me.
Well, we've all got an ego, Chris, haven't we? I certainly have, and I know you have as well. And it needs to be massaged. But I think the ego can get in the way because you get to a certain level in a estate agency where you are just the valuer, and you've got all these people running around booking viewings or doing the mail outs.
Because we can remember when you were a net. I don't know about you, but I can remember when I was the neck and I looked up to that and said, "Bloody hell, I want that job."
Yeah, 100. Yeah, exactly.
And then when you get to the value, you look at the branch manager, go, "Bloody hell, I want that job." And yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, so when you go out and become a self-employed agent or a business owner or start an estate agency business, you have to go back to when you first started and do all those crappy jobs again. I mean, you literally do. And I think there are some people out there that don't want to do that. There are some people out there who just believe business will come to them because they are a local estate agent, and that does happen. That's not, that's not something that doesn't happen. Mark Bentley is a great example of that. He is an absolutely, amazing agent, super well known, grown up in his area. He literally had to put one post on Facebook and he's flooded and he's just getting recommendations left, right and centre. So, but then he hasn't got an ego. He's a humble kind of guy. He's just a really nice, humble guy. So I think there's that, if, I have an ego. I believed 5 or 6 years ago that I could go into Hitchin and everyone would know me because I'm a been an estate agent, worked in Hitchin, lived in Hitchin, all the rest of it.
Because I see that all the time with not only self-employed estate agents, but employed agents where they move branch or set up their own business. And what they didn't realise is that everyone else was arranging the valuations for them and none of them were actually coming direct to them. And you might be a great converter on the sofa, but it's actually getting onto the sofa that's the biggest problem.
Yeah.
What advice have you given to agents who had an ego, and I use the word had, that have basically changed their mindset to be more humble yet hungry? Because you must have don't get me wrong, you must have come across people where basically their ego's got in the way, and I see it all the time where you have, again, we're talking the self-employed model here, where they basically flip from one agency to the next, on the merry-go-round. But you must have dealt with agents who did have an ego who've kind of put that on the shelf, pardon the pun.
Yeah, I think we do it internally by accident in a way. When we onboard people, with our workplace app that we use, we tell a lot of stories, and we tell a lot of stories of where agents were before and what they were doing before, and we go into the detail. A lot of our training and our, meetings that we do, we'll put a spotlight on an agent, and we're very conscious to put the spotlight on the agent who has grafted. Who's worked super hard, who's been super consistent, all the boring things that you need to do to be a successful self-employed, business owner, estate agent, whatever. So we tell a lot of stories internally. So it's kind of culturally we've managed to, bring that in.
Can you spot someone who comes with an egotistical chip on their pride shoulder, and basically say, right, I need to put them through this program to get that chip off their shoulder?
Yeah, possibly. But again, we just, I'm very involved. I'm very accessible. I do a lot of videos on our internal workplace group as well, about the fact that I used to do this and this is what I used to do. This is how I started my business. And I say...
Yeah, interesting you're telling stories. Why do you think stories are so powerful?
Because stories resonate with people, don't they? Your story, my story, it all resonates with people. They're relatable as well. And also success, we say to agents, look, copy the successful people. There's nothing wrong with copying people. Nothing wrong with copying. I've copied people all my life. That's all I've ever done, really.
Well, someone's already gone down that path. You might as well just follow their path.
No one's creating new stories. Everyone's, has the same story, but just in a slightly different way, slightly different pathway. But ultimately, you've all done the same things. You've all, dropped your ego or used your ego to get...
I mean, have you, without mentioning names, and it's really important you don't mention names, have you seen someone come into your model almost for the first 2 or 3 months was the egotistical, the ex-area manager, branch manager, senior branch manager, fall on their face slightly, and then you pick them up and move them on and actually...
All the time.
redemption, back the road back to redemption,
Yeah,
the repentant sinner.
a lot. Yeah. So we have this thing called the wall at EXP. And
What, the wall?
The
Like,
wall,
as in-
yeah. People hit the
I do
wall.
like that TV program
Yeah.
with Danny Dyer. Sorry, it's not that wall.
No, not that wall. No, sorry, Chris,
Oh,
no.
sorry. Do you know? I was getting
No,
excited.
it's our own internal wall.
The balls don't drop. I bet they do actually, but not in a different way.
No
Sorry.
comment.
All right, go on. Sorry, I was being very naughty there. Go on, far away.
So people tend to hit the wall at either month 3, 4, or 5, or
Yep.
6, and sometimes it depends on their ego, because if they've got an ego, then they'll hit the wall a bit later, a bit later, because they've not been humble enough to phone me up and say, I'm really struggling here, Adam. They just edge it out, and then all of a sudden it's 6 months down the line. I've become pretty good at pep talks and telling people that they need to get over themselves essentially, and they need to get down and dirty and in the muck and bullets and stuff. And it's no longer you're no longer a branch manager, no longer an area manager. But yeah, it's so all the time. I mean, I have pep talks every day with somebody probably, and I'm getting pretty good at them.
Do you think that's almost the value? And I know this isn't a promo video for self-employed estate agency, but that's probably one of the things that being part of a self-employed estate agency model is that there is a mentor and guide just to say, whoa, well done.
Yeah. And I think, again, without massaging my own ego, I have been there. I remember what it was like in 2006 with no money, no database, no instructions, no sales, no pipeline, no nothing. And again, I suffered that the first 3 weeks. We didn't get a phone call. We just put a Google AdWords campaign out, thought, right, Google's this new thing, we're going to get loads of phone calls. Didn't get a single phone call for 3 weeks, and me and my business partner had we nearly had a proper fight over it, because why isn't that phone ringing? We had a bit of a row, and then we kind of just we came together and said, right, we need to go out hunting, we need to go and do touting, we need to go. And there was no social media back in 2006, so it was a realization that came to us within 3 weeks, because we were so short of money and so short of phone calls, because we were starting up on a real tight budget. But that ego was that first 3 weeks. My ego was getting in the way, because I'm Adam Day. I'm an estate agent in Hitchin. I've been born, bred, went to school, worked in the town for years. But I managed to, pat that down after about 3 weeks.
Was that hard work?
Not once we'd got over that, actually. Once we got past that 3 weeks, and we realised that actually the phone will not ring if you don't go out hunting, and when we knew what our jobs were then at that point, it was kind of much easier. And then when the results started coming as well, Chris, after 3 or 4 weeks of sending letters, you start getting phone calls, you think, oh wow, Jesus, this does work. Then you keep pumping the letters out. Biggest mistake we made was stop doing the letters after 12 weeks because we got too busy. And then all of a sudden you've got to start the letters back up after 6 or 8 months, because you realise that was what was working in the first place. So yeah, it was just that consistency, and it actually became really easy when you realise that that's what you've got to do, and you accept that as well within yourself. It becomes a lot easier to go out there and generate business.
Thank you for your time today, Adam.
Thanks a lot.